Today I want to talk about love. Hi, it's Amber. I want to talk about how love can really turn everything around. Whenever you're having a feeling, it's usually based in fear or love. Those are really the two main emotions that we are experiencing that are at the root of all of our experiences in life. And you basically get to choose each moment which one you're going to try to focus on. And if you're feeling full of fear, you're not feeling full of love. And if you're feeling full of love, you're not feeling full of fear, right? If you think about it, all negative emotions usually come back to fear being at the root of them. Because even if you're angry, you might find that deep down there's like fear at the root of that anger, because you're afraid that, maybe you're angry because somebody criticizes you, but deep down maybe you're afraid that they were right to criticize you. There's all different kinds of ways you can trace it back. And then any kind of joyful feeling you're feeling is usually you're feeling love for something at the root of that. So I think one way to make our lives a lot happier and a lot better and to improve the quality of life for everyone around us is to focus on the love. I have decided to do that, and it's made my life a lot better the more I do that. The other day, I have a little story about this, how this works. So the other day, my husband was having a rough day. He has a job where he has to work outside, and he's a door-to-door salesman, which is really difficult. On a good day, it's difficult because you're knocking on people's doors, and sometimes they slam the doors in your faces. But sometimes he has to work in really horrible weather. And so this day was very, very cold, very, very cold. It's the winter right now. And it was a really cold day, and he was dreading having to go to work. And so he was kind of grumpy all day. And I called him to check on him in the middle of the day just to say, hey, how you doing? And we kind of got into a little argument. And it wasn't really over anything important, and there really was no reason to have an argument, and I didn't really do anything to justify him getting angry, but he got angry. And really what he was angry about was working out in the freezing cold, but he was kind of taking it out on me. And I am pregnant and hormonal right now, so I took it really personally at first, and I was crying after we got off the phone, and I was so upset because I knew he shouldn't have been yelling at me, and I didn't deserve it, and I was so hurt that he would do that to me. And it wasn't really that big of a fight, but at the time it seemed really bad because I was hormonal and emotional, and it really hurt my feelings, and so I was really upset. And then I thought about it and how I should handle it, and I took some time to take care of myself and, feel what I was feeling. And I thought about it, and I was like, well, I can either be loving or I cannot be loving in this situation. I can either let his being grumpy make me close my heart off to him and get angry with him and feel like, oh, now I'm not going to be nice to him when he comes home from work. I'm just going to give him the cold shoulder because he hurt my feelings and I didn't deserve it, and he was taking things out on me that he shouldn't have, and I could be all closed off and close my heart and be all grumpy back to him. Or I could choose to be loving instead. And then I realized, you know what? I'd much rather be loving instead, because I knew deep down he didn't mean it to be, and honestly, there was nothing really horrible that he said to me. He just got kind of annoyed and grumpy. But I knew deep down that he was really just having a hard day, and so, that was a manifestation of his just having a hard day, and it wasn't about me. And I knew that he probably would apologize at some point and that he was a nice person and he didn't mean it. And I thought about it and I thought, I don't want to close my heart off to my husband. I love my husband and I want to be loving towards him and I want to feel that love as much as possible. And I don't want to create any kind of separation between us. So instead, I decided I'm going to act like nothing happened, in terms of I'm just going to still be loving. I'm going to choose love. So he came home that night and I gave him some time to unwind after he got home, because that's what he needs. I've learned that he needs a little time when he comes home from work. He needs to be left alone for a few minutes to just settle in. So I did that, and I cooked us dinner, and I was decorating our Christmas tree, and I just was really sweet to him. I rubbed his feet and I told him, I made you dinner and how was your day? And I was just being really nice and sweet and loving. And then I was like, I'm going to decorate the Christmas tree if you want to help me. And I just was being super sweet and loving. And sure enough, he apologized for the way he had acted before. He said he was so sorry and that, he shouldn't have done that. And he just started totally appreciating me and being super sweet and loving and being like, oh, I was so negative. I don't deserve you. You're being so sweet and positive, and I was being so negative, and you're just too good to me. And he just was really, really appreciating me. And then, he explained how he shouldn't have treated me that way, and he really felt bad about it, and he expressed that to me, and I told him how it had really hurt my feelings and I was really sad about it, but thank you for apologizing. And so we ended up having a really nice night together. And we wouldn't have had a nice night together if I hadn't have chosen love. If I had chosen to be angry and resentful, I don't know for sure that he would have apologized like he did, or, appreciated me the way he did after that. It might have just added to the fight, because if I was acting like that, he might have been too scared to be loving back towards me. Because if you think about it, when you're closed off and angry at someone, they're not going to be loving towards you. But if you're loving towards them, they're going to feel safe enough to be loving back to you. So I was loving towards him, and then he was able to see, oh, I owe her an apology. Oh, she's so sweet. And, and he was able to come around, and then I was able to still tell him how I felt, that he hurt my feelings. It's not like I didn't tell him that it bothered me, but I was able to do it in a loving way instead of in a closed off, angry way. So I just wanted to share that story with you, because I think a lot of times in our relationships, whether they be family relationships or friendships, or especially the romantic relationships, we get a lot of chances to choose fear or to choose love, to choose to close ourselves off or to choose to open up our hearts. And I think that a lot of relationships fail because of many missed opportunities to choose to be loving. I think when you start to create that gap between you and your partner by being closed off instead of being loving, that gap can widen and can, create too much space between you, and it can end up driving you apart. But I think that if you choose to see the loving side of things as much as possible, you're going to see your relationships are going to blossom. And not just in romantic relationships, but in all aspects of your life, even in people that are hurting you. If you can choose to look at them from a loving perspective, you'll be amazed at how much better you will feel and how much better you'll be able to handle that situation. So that's my love story for today. So choose love, my friends. It won't be a bad choice, I promise. It will always be the right choice. So have a beautiful day. Namaste.